they usually tell women, be sure to take your folic acid. Because, do what, Ron?
Or just eat like healthy.
Eat healthy.
Eat more green vegetables, things like that.
Do we really do that much?
I like it.
That's good, because she did it natural without taking the supplement. Just, we don't make it as easy to do. In this country, it's other countries.
Sounds very expensive.
Yeah, eating healthy is expensive. But one of the things that it does is the folic acid. Now, definitely part of a healthy diet. It reduces the risk of something called spina bifida. Ever known or heard of this? Okay. Known anyone that maybe had a child with it or anything? Okay. Worked at an OBGYN clinic and we had one case. And very sad, okay, because the child survived, but they were paralyzed from the waist down. And basically what happens, the vertebrae fail to get the arch, which helps enclose the spinal cord, and therefore the sac that forms is part of those meninges. And the folic acid is supposed to help stop that. It's not a very common issue that happens, but it does happen. Very sad. Some children may or may not survive, and they can detect things much better now than, for example, when I had my child. I mean, they didn't even do ultrasound. And you just kind of were like, okay, well, gets here and you're like, oh, it's cool, okay. You had to depend on all those old wives' tale things to determine the boy is a girl, blah, 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 okay? I had no clue. So, hey, woo, you're a surprise. Now, if we begin to take apart the spinal cord, it gets a tad bit interesting. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. All right? Information, we determine, has to go in, and information has to come out. I've only got the one nerve. Right? How's that going to happen? How is it that I'm going to be able for information to go in and for a response to come out?
Descending track.
Ah! That's how I'm going to get information to the brain that. Okay, let's take the easy one. Temperature. All right? I never know whether to wear short sleeves or long sleeves in this classroom. I never know because today, you know, I stick out on long sleeves, I'm about to burn up. Okay? If I had worn short sleeves, I'd probably be like, well, maybe I need my sweat. The temperature. That tells me I've got some sensors detecting that information. That information needs to get to the part of my brain stem that can register it and affect my blood vessel so that I can either Sweat. Okay? Right? So I've got sensors out here, all right, that have got to take information into here, send it up, get it to my brainstem, get the response, send it back down and out. But I've only got one spinal nerve. Hopefully, in part 1, you learned that for the fibers can take information in and information out. Afferent, efferent. Everybody remember that? Okay? So now, I've got a situation. This nerve has to be able to have both fibers. So therefore, they're going to be termed mixed. They're going to have both afferent and efferent fibers. Does that make sense? So the spinal nerve that they're showing right here has both afferent and efferent fibers. If I begin to look at this picture, and if this is my spinal nerve, okay, what do you see it do once it enters the bone?
Bifurcate.
Do what, Brian?
Bifurcate.
Let's break that down. It forks. But yes, bifurcate would be what is happening. So, as that nerve that looks like one enters the vertebrae, it will split. It will fork. Because it's going to be part of information that will get to come in, information that will get to come out. And then it gets to travel on that peripheral nerve. Does that make sense? So, let's take a peek at a segment. Alright? Because remember, I have pairs of spinal nerves. So that means for every vertebra, I've got one coming out of the left, one coming out of the right. Okay? So, if I take a segment, and if I look at it, I've got my nerve coming out, I'm going to see in the makeup of my spinal cord, I've got what's being represented. I've got the section showing my gray and my white matter. Down through the middle is the central canal, because that's how the CSF gets to move, okay? If I look at this segment, they're trying to show gray and white being represented here. For the gray matter, it looks like a butterfly. That's usually how everybody refers to it, as the butterfly. What do you kind of notice about the butterfly shape and connection to spinal fibers? Okay, you're talking about left versus right? Okay, yeah, looks like a nice pretty butterfly. Connected directly to what? On which side? On the posterior side. Note the structure that I have. Alright? Left and right, central canal, gray matter, white matter. on this gray matter that's existing right here, it has what's termed the posterior horn. Because that's what it looks like. It looks like the horns are going straight up, and it looks like it has a direct connection to the fibers that are feeding into it. Does everybody kind of see that? So, that information is coming directly to the gray matter. Does that make sense? Down here on my anterior side, I don't have that. It looks like my fibers are just kind of, merging into the white matter. What is the difference between the gray matter and the white matter?
The amount of myelin.
Let's kind of change the terminology and let's say the myelin wrapping. Okay? Because here's the difference. Up to this point, we've pretty much been taught that the gray matter means there's no myelin, right? And the white matter was the myelin. Okay, no. Alright, here's what happens. The myelin's job is to protect the cell. It's just the way it is wrapped. Those cells, the neurons that are in the gray matter, rather than that axon having individual wrapping, do you guys remember that? Okay? Where we had like the Schwann cell and it laid down individual like little blocks of wrapping. In the gray matter, it's simply, that axon is simply resting in the fatty substance. It doesn't look like it's doing a complete wrap. It is still protected, okay? It's just not in these nice little blocks like we see in the white matter. In the white matter, those axons look like, well they do, it looks like they've got, you guys remember the Schwann cell? And how it laid down the myelin and the wrapping? Okay? That's what it did. And because it's such fatty material, and fat's usually white, okay, depending on where you find it in the body, and so it has this whitish appearance, and it looks like the blocks of the fatty material. That's the difference, for the most part. That was not that simple, is it? No. But yeah, no. Okay? So, let's take a peek. Gray matter. Neuron cell body. What part of my cell is that referring to? My picture over here, I'm not an artist. Okay? You all will come to enjoy my art. Okay, but I'm not an artist. In this picture right here, which part is the neuron cell body? Huh? What? The circle. The circle is my neuron cell body. It has a great big huge nucleus. It has endoplasmic reticulum. However, the cells don't duplicate, right? Okay? Nerve cells and muscle cells don't duplicate. Why?